What's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Today, we'll take a quick peek over here at the total altcoin market cap. We'll take a quick peek over there at the Bitcoin price chart. We'll spend quite a bit of time over here on the XRP price chart. We will keep this brief because I do have a lot going on, and you guys will understand later this week. I have a super busy week this week. You'll understand soon enough. But yesterday, we were talking about the altcoin market cap, whether it could hold this level in here or if it's going to have to pull back down in here. We used examples yesterday. Still, this seems to be in the cards and a potential play. I do understand a lot of time technical and analysis YouTube channels. They'll use a lot of manipulative wording to say up or down, and whatever ends up happening end up being right. I'll be clear with this on my statements. I just don't think there's a good enough indication for me to choose one way or the other on if we have to go back and back test this level right in here before shuffling our way back up to the top of the range in here. Of course, I'm under the pretense that this is Wyckoff accumulation. This is the bottom in here, as we've been showing examples of other Wyckoff endings happening in the altcoin market. So for actual price action that has happened in the last 24 hours or the bigger picture change, nothing has changed compared to yesterday's discussion. Still just ranging and likely to be more ranging in the future. And why do I say something like that? More ranging in the future and continuing ranging is because that even a move up right in here, people likely would be looking for a trend change to emerge and for us to just keep marching and that there would actually be a trend. But I do actually think we'd still stay range bound in here for a little while, simply because that's typically what usually happens. As for the XRP price chart, this is actually the second time I've recorded this video. I made a big long piece on the XRP price chart and decided just to scrub it in here and take all this off at this point. Right now, with where XRP is, I've compared this to Litecoin. The cold, hard reality is it's a very difficult read for me on the XRP price chart at this point. I think it's really optimistic to see this pull down happen right in here and that this level was still able to maintain itself. We are still holding the June lows down in here. The bigger question is this like the ugly grind that we had happen out of here from March of 2020? This is what it looked like, and then it just kind of kept grinding in an ugly way. Or are we doing what we typically see happen in here where you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, roll back up to wave 4, 6, and 7. I think that is viable too. The reason I've scrubbed 10 minutes of content of talking about this is I don't want to do what a lot of people do, where they use a lot of fancy wording to say one way or the other, then no matter what plays out, you end up being right. I want to be clear, shoot it straight with you. As we're right here, this is a difficult read on the XRP price chart. That's a lot of ranging that's happening right in here. We were really hoping to see this price level hold right in here at 39 cents, which is like what we saw happen over here on Doge. That's what we were cheering for to happen in here, is to come back and have a back chest of the sign of strength area and then bounce our way out of there. We've shown examples of this also occurring with Bitcoin back in 2015. That's what we were cheering for. That's what you got in Doge. XRP, not so pretty. It is above that level right now as we record this, but will that stay true till tomorrow? It's the big question. So I kind of want to give this a moment to breathe because the picture just isn't super clear for me on if there's further accumulation that has to happen here, as we're talking about and as we see happen all too often. And as that is right where we have found resistance up until this point. Give me a break above that level, I'll start feeling a little bit more confident and optimistic. But while we're underneath it right in here, that seems possible too. So am I really just going to say, hey, this is possible going that way and this is possible? And then whatever one plays out, I say, see, I told you so. No, I'll shoot it straight with you. It's just not super clear for me right here what's going to happen at this exact moment. An example of something kind of like this happening right in here, which, it's tough, right? Because with these types of moments in here, this is what we were really cheering for, right? This is what we were looking for to happen in here. That's just not how it has played out up until this point. This is really what we were going for. So when one thing doesn't work out, do we just go find something else that we want to suit our bias, right? And that's where you kind of go to Litecoin and you say, oh, well, with Litecoin, it did something very similar to just like this right in here. Grinding, had its breakout, kind of 3 tops up in here, breaks back down to the lows and then goes. But what does Litecoin do in that example as well? Well, just like we always see these things do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back up to wave 4, 6, and then 7, and then it's good to go. So do we have that going on right there? It's possible. but it could also be the bottom is in, because even though we went deeper, we got what we wanted over here. We're seeing it in other aspects of the market of that was good. And then we're seeing it over here in the altcoin market of spring already being completed in here as well. So what do we do? What do I do as a content creator who wants to talk about XRP, but at the same time kind of struggling with this? I'll just shoot it straight with you. There's those challenges that are there with XRP right now. So I do see the possibility of us having to come down here one more time for XRP, but I also see the potential of it going like this. And I will say ahead of time, no matter which one it does, I won't say I was right. I'll say I was wrong because I couldn't figure it out. But as we're sitting here right now, it's just a difficult read, but hopefully that picture does get clear soon. The reasons why that's also challenging too is just because we talk about these things all the time. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, rolling back up to 4, which happens here, right, for 6. And then where do you go? You go for 7 in here, right? But we look over here to November 22nd. And we've been down here talking about the altcoin market, and we zoom in on here and we say, okay, well, here's that moment in time, right? Here's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, rolls back up to wave 4. There's 6 sideways. Then what do? We go on and we set the new low down in here, and you have 7 here on November 22nd. So this moment right here is this moment right in here. But price for XRP was able to maintain itself and be stronger. However, this is the technical ending for that type of move, right? And we talk about that all the time. And that moment was right here for XRP, but it didn't do it. So I'm going to give this a moment to breathe as we still just kind of stay here in this range, and we're up near the upper bound of the range. Now, every time I make a video talking about this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stuff, I try to put myself in the shoes of a viewer who has never heard of this before, or who thinks that whatever I'm saying is just a load of nonsense, and because that's how I would be feeling. But this is a phenomenon I've talked about for a very long time. Here's a video from almost 2 years ago of signs the bottom is in. And so this was posted on January 5th of 2021. So we're going on 1 year and 10 months ago when I was really kind of doing a video explaining this phenomenon. Let me just play this clip for you really fast. And then after that, it'll come down and break this level. And this is where you see the signature move that happens in this crashing pattern. So we will see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here. And they usually are very identifiable, and we can pinpoint them pretty well. So at this point, we now have, after a parabolic rise, a 1, 2, 3, with 3 coming below 1, a rise back up, and then an easy to identify 5-wave pattern coming down. So this is our 4th wave. And this is our 5th wave. So in the 5th wave, we will always see these really strong 5 waves that take place in here. And then we'll have our 6th wave. And in most circumstances, the 6th wave will come up here to the top of wave 4. I'm going to show you a couple examples of this throughout the market. So right now we're kind of just in the theory building stage of me showing this to you, but then you'll understand here in a second. Then we'll see number 6, and then usually we will have our final excess. And a lot of times this final excess, number 6, will be a repeat of this whole thing, but just on a much smaller scale, to where we get wave 7. And then that is our bottom, and that is the end of the crash. So when we're talking about these things here with the altcoin market, and we're saying, look, you've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, rolls back up to wave 4, 6, and then what do? We come over here and we set 7 in here, and that marks the bottom. That's the end of a crashing structure. It's exactly what I'm showing here from back in January of 2021. That's what we've seen happen over here on Bitcoin as well. Same thing, 6 and 7, new low. That's how the bottom of the market came in for Bitcoin back in 2018. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back to wave 4, 6 and 7, just below. That's the bottom. We saw that there at the bottom after the SEC lawsuit. When I was making that video on January 5th, 2021, it was relating to this, that we had already completed number 7 and that this was the bottom. Sure enough, it was. The prices did go up from there. And then even here on this shorter time frame right in here, what we've been talking about, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, rolls back up, 6 and 7. So you get, this is a normal phenomenon to always happen at very ending phases happening in the market. And as we were just talking about with Litecoin in here, when it did something similar to what we're seeing with XRP right now, that's what you had happen in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, long time period, 7, that's the end of it. And then up and away it went, right? So like, this is my problem with XRP, right? And that's where I'm getting at with, it's like, it's a confliction with a knee right in here is typically when those crashes are completely done. You go on, you have that one final push down in there. We know that time period for XRP was right in here, but it did not set a low. So long as we're here in this area right in here, right, we're back at that fourth wave right in here. It's just that, I'd like to see some price action play out before I kind of really put a stamp on what my belief is, because those are my conflictions. So if I'm going to at least say I'm having challenges on being able to make a decision on which one I have conviction on, this is the reason why. It's because typically this is the crashing structure that we see happening here in the XRP price chart. It's the same one we saw happen over here in the altcoin market. Typically, there's this seventh dip, the seventh wave that goes and sets a little bit of a lower low down in here. We had that moment happen in the altcoin market down in here, but we didn't get it in the XRP price chart. Is XRP just going to skip that phase or not? Because the altcoin market already did it, it's possible, but at the same time, we're still back at this level and have not exceeded it, meaning that it could still happen. So that's why I can't be like, this is how I feel one way or another. So I hope you understand that, and I did a good enough job explaining why I struggle with the moment that we're at currently right now when it comes to the XRP price chart. But then at the same time, for those wondering why I feel optimistic about the altcoin market finishing a spring phase and why I'm pointing to this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stuff, here you go. This shows the video from back in January of 2021 discussing this phenomenon and why I look at it that we're at right now and say, this looks great to me. So you can see I'm not really pulling stuff out of my backside and making it up as I go. These are the things I normally look for at bottoms. And that's what we got over here in the altcoin market to finish off a spring phase at the end. But that is also why there is a complication here with the XRP price chart, because on the altcoin market, that was the moment where 7 came in here. However, XRP didn't do it. So I want to give it a moment to breathe while I have that little bit of confliction there within me. But I hope all of that does also help explain why I'm like, hey, this is awesome that we had all of this already play out here on the altcoin market at the spring phase and the wave count and how we did it, because that's the normal structure of how things end. So while we're in here, it just doesn't have a whole lot of meaning to me waiting for prices to either wrap up themselves down here or get back to the top of the range. What we are in right now likely is a ranging period and an accumulation period. When we look at these types of structures, if some type of contagion stuff comes out and the whole market just goes to heck, well, that's its own thing. But when we're just doing charts and we say crashing structures completed, you got your 7th wave, what happens in these time periods right here is a lot of ranging that takes place for a while. So I don't put a whole lot of emphasis on the prices that happen right back in here. Like what we usually see, right, is however this plays out, whether this happens from here or if this pulls back down here and then goes to here, then you get an ABC happening in here and then you can go. But those are all good things, and we'll keep an eye on it throughout the week. But all right, guys, that's going to be it for this one. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. I'll keep checking in with you guys every day this week. I have a busy, exciting week ahead of me. I'll share it all with you very soon. Otherwise, I want to thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you could be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice, and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need to pick me up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.